done a lot I've seen this on the internet. It's done a lot in Australia by a couple of activists, James Astor, who I'm sure you've all have heard of, and another guy goes by the name of Joey Carbstrong. And they do, over there they call it the Cube of Truth. They have a specific video that they run that is footage from Australia. So preferably the footage that we run here would be United States footage for continuity's sake. Anyway, that's the idea in a nutshell. And again, I'm sort of networkless, so I am here to ask for help in any way at all from any of you. If you've got ideas, if you know people, if you want to just be there on the street when it happens and be a part of the activism, whatever way that you can help. We're sitting over there at the end of whenever all of this is said and done, and I'd love to share my email and phone number with whoever, and we can start to plan something. Anyway, this is my idea, and thank you.
Oh, wait, question.
Yes.
Did you mention that they wear anonymous masks?
Okay, yeah, so there is, there is a group that has local chapters in South Florida. They've also got them all over the world, Anonymous for the Voiceless, and it's a branch of Anonymous that is specifically dedicated to animal rights activism. And they do, yes, Anonymous for the Voiceless does this, wearing anonymous masks. However, the events that happen in Australia, some of them are not associated with Anonymous. They do typically still wear masks. The idea is that the people holding the iPads or the television screens or whatever the footage is on are sort of statuesque. That's why they have the masks, so they become sort of like a prop of a person, and that keeps the engagement person to person with the people who are not, the people holding the screens are not having conversations. There's other people floating around. It's a dynamic thing for the events, sort of making it work, so that the people out there doing the outreach are talking to the people, and then the ones doing the footage are sort of like a fixture that's not necessarily to be engaged with.
Question number 2: what if you were to kind of
I could probably make myself look like Guy Fawkes, yeah, if I tried.
Do you have to wear an anonymous mask if you're out and about?
No, I honestly don't know. I haven't. I've sent out some emails to Anonymous for the Voiceless and then other people. I don't know if you do an event with Anonymous for the Voiceless, they might ask that the participants wear masks. The ones, like I said, the ones who are engaging and speaking with people on the street do not have masks on, because that psychologically is a weird thing to talk to people in a mask, and I don't think that it's the ones that are holding the screens. They're sort of not, and like I said, I don't know if they require. I think when it comes down to it, you can't force anyone to wear a mask. If they want to be an activist and come, I think it would be weird to be like, well, you have to wear a mask. So no, I don't think anyone has to wear a mask. It's just for,
unless you're Batman.
Yeah, because then you don't want anyone to know where you live. Anyway, thank you guys, and find me afterwards if you can help.
Public readers.
Oh, you readers. They want readers.
Okay, we have, if you've been following the posts and the Facebook and Meetup and our website, we are encouraging veg-tastic arts. Veg-tastic arts. Does anyone know the word veg-tastic?
Just heard it now.
You just heard it now. Well, okay, we made it up like in the last 6 months. But veg-tastic would be like vegan or vegetarian and fantastic. Like the fantastic philosophy, the fantastic performances. We have vegan music, we have vegan art, we have vegan poetry. Now, one of our vegan poets is related to Brooke. That would be Butterflies. And she has a whole book, she is considered the vegan poet or one of the leading vegan poets. Your hostess, Estella, has been known to read amazing earth poetry at many events lately, and we're encouraging all the arts, painting, sculpture, fine arts of all kinds, poetry, videography, the performing arts. Do you have a vegan dance? Do you have a vegan painting? Do you have a vegan sculpture? Anything that conveys vegan. What is vegan? Well, it's a collection of messages. And so we have 2 readers. They're not that old. They're not among our senior citizens, are you? No, you're not that old. But they have looked at these 2 wonderful books. And first I'm going to ask, who's going to read first? She pushed her forward. Okay, would you like to stand or sit or... She'll sit. Okay, so now Haley, who's proud daddy is right there, Stephen, he brought these young ladies, and they represent the next generation. And so she went through this book that, I'll tell you which one it is, Why I Will Always Be Vegan. You can look at the book at any time. It's a collection of essays. It's world class. And so, Haley, would you read a bit for us? And I will hold the microphone for you, okay? So you can just get comfortable, and I'll kind of mic her. So tell me when you're ready.
Read.
Your father said, read. You can do it.
Or no dessert tonight.
No dessert tonight. Oh my God, no, there's a good reason. There's a good reason. You want to go first, Kylie?
No dessert tonight.
She's ready. She's ready. Here we go.
World hunger.
World hunger so far.
What about world hunger? Tell us about world hunger.
Tell us about world hunger from this passage in the book. It's very, very, very funny. No, but once she gets started, then, you know, all the happiness and the silliness will all disappear. Focus. Grasshopper.
Not one time.
Let Kylie start. Then you'll feel better about it. Okay, Kylie, I'll hold the mic for you, okay? Kylie's going to read from Powerful Vegan Messages by Jay and Ann Dinshaw. Okay, compose yourself. She can start.
It's the hair, Jeff.
Her hair?
Oh, that's Jeff?
Let there be peace and let it begin with me. There is much wisdom in the song Let There Be Peace on Earth by Jill Jackson and Cy Miller. Where else can peace begin but in the heart and conscience of the individual?
Very good. Wow, that's a powerful vegan message. Thank you. So she's going to read from page 77.
Not once have I been advised by any of the third world aid charities I support to go vegan and free up more food for people. This despite the fact that 40,000 children die every day for lack of food, with the privileged to eat animals who have been fed the green that could have fed these children. It is a scandal that few seem willing to comfort.
Wow. I think that was well read, don't you? Okay, public readers. Does anybody have anything else that is ready to share. We have a very receptive group here. Scott, you want to come on up? We'll go take a minute and tell us what you're up to. But
I will.
so, what have you got?
All right. Oh my God, I'm not laughing. Okay, on July 29th, I'm running a fundraiser called Fantasy and Illusion, and the proceeds are going to go to the Humane Society. And I've chosen two other charities, an organization called Kapow, which is Kids Learning for Success, and what was the other one? The Homeless Initiative, in association with the Multi-Agency Homeless Task Force, which is a police, county sheriffs, Broward County, and they're the first on the scene when they see a homeless person. So they get special training on how to deal with them and direct them into a proper location and try and handle them with care, just like we want for animals. So anyway, I thank you for letting me do this. If you're interested, July 29th, $50 general admission. There's a theater, show, and dancing. And of course, there's a VIP entrance. And I have these little cards here if anybody's interested in checking it out. And I would definitely like to network with anyone here so that we can all help one another. And that's, I want to thank Brooke for inviting me here as well.
And you'll have vegan food if you...
And we're going to have vegan food because I just spoke to Brooke and we said, and thanks to Neil, because Neil said, you need to talk to Brooke because I'm tired of these animal events, animal advocacy events where they're serving animals. So I'm like, gosh, that makes sense, doesn't it? Duh. So that's why we connected. So thank you very much. July 29th, feel free to grab a card if you're near me or anywhere.
Thank you.
Now, how do I follow that voice? I'm going to do something I just sent to Willie Nelson. I've had this for a long time. It doesn't need an explanation. I must be looking through dirty windows because things out there ain't clear. They're all distorted images and preachings that I hear. I'd wash that glass down, dry it clean to see things as I should. But all my scrubbing yesterday ain't not a bit of good. So I left my house and went outside to get a better look. I even read a Forksville Weekly and a 45-page thick book. All this education, my mind is still amuck. No matter how I rubbed my eyes, these sights just wouldn't clear up. So please tell me if you can, are my eyes deceiving me? Because it seems that the goings on out there ain't know-how the way they ought to be. So I went off to see my friendly optometrist to get a remedy to things I see, and he'd know what is best. Now he said he's seen this problem before and solved it in the past. He sold me horn-rimmed spectacles with 2 black panes of glass.
You never know what Howard's going to come up with next. Never. Dr. Flora. She needs no introduction, but just introduce her. It's Dr. Flora herself.
Hi. Some of you may not know that I worked with Dr. Ann Wigmore in Boston for 22 years and then down in Puerto Rico. She got Nobel recognition in 1971 for cell regeneration through enzyme therapy. Bottom line, that means raw food, electric food, food that has been fermented like sauerkraut. Now I'm going to finish a story for this lady here that I started last month, and Jeff said, 1 minute, and then my brain turns off. So I wanted to let you know the last 2 years of her life, because of a problem that they had with their compost down in Puerto Rico, chickens and pigs came in and ate the little green sprouts that were coming up from the seeds that hadn't been fermented. And so they couldn't use the compost anymore because the creatures had left their feces there and their urine along with eating up the little sprouts. So she went out into the neighborhood down there and found the very things, the very weeds that her grandmother had brought her up with in Lithuania. Lamb's quarter, purslane, spring dandelion, any of the other friendly weeds that you can read about. And so she began to eat them exclusively, along with the papaya and the mangoes and the watermelons down there, with the natural organic seeds and nuts in their normal routine. And she said, Flora, it's like I've been reborn. We had a wonderful doctor, food scientist from Boston, who went through every single thing that was part of the Wigmore program, and he found out that the ones that were started in trays did not have a balance that the regular food had that was grown in the soil, right in Mother Earth. And so we're encouraging all of you, don't be concerned about sprouting things in jars and then putting them in an inch of dirt in a cafeteria tray, because that will always leave you dissatisfied. Plant your seeds in the soil, even if you just have little boxes. You know, something that's grounded, it needs to have a grounding energy. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, Jeff. Where did you go? Okay, so these kids are back there. I'll tell you something else about Dr. Ann. A lot of people don't know. The last time I saw her down in Puerto Rico, this was the 2-week holiday. All kinds of people. We were working with people that had AIDS. We had, it didn't matter what kind of disease you had. The living food is going to help you. Everybody is different, but when it comes to electricity, when it comes to eating food that doesn't carry a lot of diseases with it, or food that does carry electricity, which our heart needs and our muscles and our nerves need, that's what you want to think about. When you go home, be blessed that we live in Florida and we can have organic papayas. We can have mangoes. We can have all of these precious foods. The only place we ever get energy is from fruits. And even people who have diabetes are being led down a primrose path by some people are telling them they can't have any fruits. Fruits are really necessary. So I have certified in plant-based nutrition from Cornell with Dr. Campbell personally. Every year I meet him at the Holistic Holiday at Sea, Fort Lauderdale. We're so lucky. A ship is going to leave next February for 10 days, and we're going to have Dr. Campbell, Dr. Neil Bernard, who is the president of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. I've known him for 35 years. We're going to have Dr. Esselstyn, who has written a book called How to Prevent Reverse Heart Disease, a scientifically based cure. We're going to have all of the doctors who are pure scientists. This is not, there's not another place that I can think of where all these people get together and you can sit and eat with them every night. You can get to know them as human beings and they will get to know you. This past February, I went on a ship, this Holistic Holiday at Sea down in Miami. They left from the Miami port then. And I got to know this young woman who is the poster girl now for Dr. Esselstyn's heart reversal. She had had everything done to her, that poor little body. I mean, she'd had multiple, I think 3 times they, right through her rib cage and opened it up. And so many different failures here and there. And when she went on the Plant Strong diet, I wish you could see her now. One of the most beautiful people I've ever seen. And anyway, if you find out more about this on Plant Strong Nutrition or Plant-Based Nutrition, Rick Esselstyn has this wonderful Engine 2 diet, who is the son, and then there's Jane Esselstyn, who's the daughter. It's just marvelous. This family is getting bigger and bigger. We actually have pods of people over in the west part of Florida where there's a hospital that's vegan now. There are communities, these pods, where people know that when they go to a restaurant, it's going to be vegan. So I welcome you to a wonderful family that's getting bigger and bigger all the time. I am over 80, and I look forward to, thank you, thank God. I look forward to being around for a long time to share this information, and I really appreciate you. And Estella. And the chef.
And you. Jamie.
Hi, my name is Jamie Sakulo, and I have a meetup group in Davie. It's called Plant-Based Nutrition to Health. So if you're interested in that, I have regular events. But what I want to talk to you about is the upcoming Woodstock Fruit Festival. It's in upstate New York. It's in August, and this will be my 4th festival that I'm going to. But it's a magical week, immersed with it's lectures, fitness, and all 100% raw vegan food.
Jimmy Hendrix?
No, Jimmy won't be there, but Chris Kendall will be there. So it's a magical week. It's adult summer camp. It's in the base of the Adirondack Mountains. Beautiful. It's on Trout Lake, and it gives you the taste of what true, vibrant health is like. And the best lecturers and speakers in the raw vegan field come from all over the world to the Woodstock Fruit Festival. Woodstock Fruit Festival is fantastic. The founder of the festival, Mike Arnstein, he's 40 years old, and he just entered for the 3rd time in Hawaii the Hurt 100, which is an ultra race, 100-mile race, up and down, and it's a trail race in Hawaii, 24,500 feet of elevation gain and loss. And the fruitarian, Mike Arnstein, at 40 years old, beat everybody, including the youngsters, in this grueling race. So that's the power of fruit. And so Mike Arnstein is the founder of the festival. It's a great time. It's not that expensive. Everything's included, the lodging, in the cabins right in the camp, and all the food. And so, and anybody that wants to go, if you use my discount code, you can save $100. But you really want to think about it because it's an incredible week, and it's completely awesome. And it's late August, upstate New York. It's about an hour north of Albany. The Woodstock Fruit Festival. And if you're on Meetup and you go to Plant-Based Transition to Health, I have a link to it there, but you can also Google it, and it'll come right up. The Woodstock Fruit Festival. It's in August.
Thanks, Jamie. Woodstock. Well, since he mentioned Woodstock Fruit Festival, I'm going to mention Summerfest. I know some people in this room have been to Summerfest. I'll put it this way. If we stayed in this room or in this facility for 5 days, and we had 3 vegan meals, top quality vegan meals a day, we had approximately 100 speakers, thought leaders, they now say thought leaders, authors, filmmakers, some of the doctors that we all know, we all read about. Summerfest is, I'm not going to say it's the greatest single vegan conflagration. No, not conflagration. What's the word? Congregation. I was thinking of another word that's like, 57 word. Anyway, 5 days of just constant, morning till night. It's so huge, and there are 700 people, approximately, who are on the campus of the university at this little town, Johnstown, near Pittsburgh. 700 people, a lot of children. There are families, there are singles, and for 5 days, it's total immersion in what we're doing right now, 5 days. But the thing is, at like 12 o'clock or 1:30 when the next session begins, You have to actually look at this chart and say, I'm going to go to Michael Clapper's talk, but I'm going to have to miss Dr. Esselstyn, and I'm going to have to miss Dr. Furman or some of your favorites. It's so huge that they have like 4 or 5 events at each spot. So there's your decision-making powers put to the test, and the sadness, I wanted to see both of them. Well, of course, there are videos. All right. One final note. Well, actually, 2 final notes. Or actually, 3 final notes. Right there on the back table is a great, I would say it's veg-tastic. Freddie, I'm going to say that is veg-tastic art. Freddie Gomez has made incredible things. Folks, when you get a chance, walk over there. And Brooke said, I'm buying one of those. He already did. He bought the one on the end, so you can't. All right? You can't buy that one. But Freddie has done, there's a principle which says, don't waste, reuse, recycle, repurpose, retask things. Save our planet, save the resources. And he takes used motorcycle tires, only motorcycles. What's wrong with a 4-wheel vehicle? Come on. He's very discriminative. That's discrimination. He discriminates against 4-wheelers. But he makes these incredible works of art that are functional. And so don't miss it. Don't miss it. Walk over there where you see the sign, Personal Food Choices, Global Results. There he is. Okay, one more thing or 2. We have really, really made an effort to go bilingual. And so on our website, we're always trying to come up with more in Espanol. So not only that, if you want to share our messages and our information, you can grab the literature and all that, but you can also go on, and we have a media kit. You can download things there. Gerard, did you have something that's...
What's the most viewed, most hits on your thing?
Let me think about this. Okay, he puts me on the spot, and it's great news, but it's sort of overshadowed by him.
Oh, yeah.
So we have done, we EarthSave, even though we have been doing this for 21 years in South Florida. I mean, ours is the longest continuous monthly vegan events. Believe me, it's true. And so, yeah, great. And thousands of people have come through the EarthSave dinners, and many of them come through and they eat and they enjoy, and then they go out and they form a meetup group and they have their own potluck and they form another organization. I would bet that there's maybe 50 organizations that have started, which is great. We're grassroots. We're not about, So we started doing a little bit of videoing recently. And these people, Jermaine and Gerard, just happened to be speaking at our Coral Gables dinner, which will be tomorrow night in Coral Gables. Everybody's invited. Actually, you all have to come. Yeah, the vegan police will be at your door if you don't come. So we did a brief video of their talk, and it is our biggest hit video so far. Closing in on 200 views. 200 views really is by far our most successful video. James, you're out of this. You can't even talk about this. But we're trying to catch up with James. Let's see, from say 300, 400 views. We only have 3,900,000 to go. All right. I'd like everybody to go start watching our videos night and day and comment and all that. Okay, now, our featured speaker. I might give the wrong introduction, but I'm going to give an introduction that is really personal, because I just met Kevin today. But what I have seen is evidence that our society has some big, big flaws. This man was put into prison along with the other shack 6 or 5 or 6. We're not going to talk much about it, but can you imagine being an animal rights activist like Brooke, like many people in this room, and then staying within the law, and then being put into prison for 4 years? And serving prison time because of laws that are bizarre, unconstitutional. So because of their work in closing down the Huntington lab years ago, not too many years ago, this man, for his convictions, along with other activists who did it illegally, they weren't the bad animal liberationists, the bad ones, who go out and open cages and let animals free like him, or if I could, I would set free animals, okay? And, but this man served hard time for it. And so that is just beyond words, okay? But today he's here because of the Beagle, a project that is near and dear to Brooke's heart, and Kevin Kjonaas has been pushing this project. I just want to say one thing. My first pet, honestly, was Prince, a little beagle. My very first pet. I'll never forget little Prince. Kevin, would you take this mic from me?
I will. I'm a wrestler from That wasn't much of a struggle. Come on. I was promised a struggle. Come on, how do I follow this guy? He's got crazy hair, he's got accents, he's bringing up everybody for open mic night. I love this. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you to everybody at Earth Saving. Thank you for your patience and having me here tonight. My name is Kevin. I am here as a representative of the charity I work for right now, and hope to for a long time until the issue is completed. It's called Beagle Freedom Project. We are a national, nonprofit, research animal rescue and advocacy organization. There's not many like us. What we do is simply negotiate with laboratories around the world for the release of animals after they've been experimented on. Because the standard operating procedure in all these labs is for them to summarily kill them, no matter how healthy or adoptable they could be. We're called Beagle Freedom Project because the #1 breed of dog used in animal testing is beagles. They choose beagles for the same great qualities that Jeff and myself, who grew up with beagles, I have 2 of them now, for the same reasons they make great family companions. They're docile. They're people-pleasing. They don't bite. There's a reason they don't use Rottweilers in labs. They pick and prey upon the vulnerable and the sweet. Beagle Freedom Project was started 5 years ago. My boss, a lawyer down in Los Angeles, her name is Shannon Keith. Great attorney. She had her own practice, Pepperdine trained, and as a side project, she had this rescue organization called ARMY, Animal Rescue Media and Education, and she specialized in helping shelters with senior and special needs dogs and cats and finding them those special homes they required. One day, 5 years ago, she got a call from a laboratory down in San Diego, and they said, "We've called a bunch of organizations, nobody said yes. We've got 2 experimentally spent beagles from a research facility that they've been here for years. We're going to put them down unless somebody can take them. Will you take them?" She immediately said yes. Shannon is also an animal rights activist and knows all about the use of beagles in labs. She thought this would be a really emotionally feel-good moment, getting these dogs out of a lab and giving them a home. And while that was true, what she didn't anticipate were those first few steps. Once she got the beagles in the crates, they'd spent 5 years in a basement cage. Their whole world was concrete floors, cinder block walls, fluorescent lights overhead. All they could hear was clanking metal, doors shutting, the whimpers of some of their friends that hadn't been debarked yet, the smell, urine, ammonia, and fear. That had been their whole lives for 5 years. The only time they got taken out of those cages is when some white-gloved hand with the face mask on would pull them out, bring them down the hallway to the lab, where God knows what unspeakable nightmares they endured. That was their life. Never a walk, never a toy, never socialization. They were abstract, furry little test tubes to this facility. But they, unlike most labs, did something very laudable. They at least let these 2 survivors go. So Shannon took them, and she thought, this would be great. They're going to run around and have this great time in my backyard before I find them a home. She brought them to the backyard, opened those cages, and as somebody in Los Angeles, and her dad was a filmmaker, it was in her training in DNA to have a camera on. And she filmed what happened over the course of those first 15 minutes. She opened both cage doors to those crates, and neither of them would take a step out. They'd peek their heads out a little, then retreat back in. The world was simply just too big for them. They'd never been outside. They'd never seen the sky, the sun, put a single paw on a blade of grass. Finally, after 15 minutes of just sitting there letting the camera roll and watching these dogs just kind of cower in their crates, one of them finally took that brave step out and started exploring, tail curled all the way under in fear, bewilderment. But he started exploring. And he went up to the other dog, put his head in his crate, they touched noses, and it's like a light switch. They both came out. Their little tails slowly started to go up, and they started to explore each other, the yard, and they had a great time, but it only lasted for a few minutes, because like most dogs in labs, their muscles were so atrophied, they couldn't really play or run around. They were immediately exhausted. Those 2 dogs were named Freedom and Libby, and they were placed at a great home, and they're living a great life. And Shannon realized what I just witnessed is something everybody needs to see to know about animal testing. And so she started a mission of her rescue organization called Beagle Freedom Project, and she gave me a call to Jeff's point. She was my attorney, so I knew Shannon pretty well through multiple lawsuits. And she said, Kevin, I got this idea, I got these 2 beagles, I might be able to get more. Will you help me turn this into an advocacy program? And like Jeff said, I had just gotten out of federal prison. I spent 4 years, 9 months, and 12 days, but who's counting? And I was in there for animal rights activism against animal testing. I was leading a campaign against an animal testing lab in New Jersey and in England called Huntington Life Sciences. It's the world's largest contract research organization, and they'll test any product on any animal for any company for a lot of money. And they are also very notorious because PETA and undercover investigators in England both went in with secret cameras and buttons on their shirt or in their glasses, and they film what happens inside an animal testing lab. So the reason they're in basements with no windows. The video shocked the world. Beagle puppies being punched in the face, slammed against walls, thrown into cages, research data being falsified for the products you and I are supposed to use that are tested safe. A primate in the New Jersey laboratory was literally, and I'm sorry because this is dinner time, was cut open while she was still conscious. And they recognized that, but they didn't want to anesthetize her again. It was ghastly. So our campaign was simple. This place needed to go. How many more reasons do we need to shut it down? An example needed to be set that this is not acceptable. And we're not going to wait for the politicians to get a conscience. We're still not waiting on that, and all of you know why. We weren't going to wait for the media to champion our cause, or the big national organizations to finally realize we should do something. We decided as grassroots activists, unpaid, untrained, that we could do this ourselves with our passion. And by God, we did. Across the world, grassroots advocates modeled the same campaign strategy that brought down the apartheid government. This bank boycott campaign to defund that government. We applied that same strategy to Huntington Life Sciences. And we decided instead of going to this laboratory in the middle of nowhere and holding up a sign as the workers driving in, showing them a picture of a dog they abused prior, it wasn't going to do anything. So we took those same protesters, those same placards, and instead of going to the lab, we started going to all the shareholders, to the market makers, to the customers, to the lawn care supplier, to anybody that would do business with this lab, and slowly but surely, every one of these companies pulled the plug on the lab. They were kicked off the London Stock Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, the over-the-counter bulletin board, and finally their share price plummeted 99% and was being traded for a penny each. And then it wasn't even being traded at all because they didn't have any market makers to make a market to even trade it. They only survived because the government gave them emergency insurance when their insurance company pulled out. Otherwise, anybody that stubbed a toe in that lab could have sued them for everything. They also gave them emergency banking services so they could simply pay their employees. This was all done by grassroots, unpaid activists. It was a power that the federal government could not tolerate. And there was an element to this campaign where there was some law breaking. I was not a part of it as much as I would love to have been, but I'm not that brave. I'm just this skinny white kid from Minnesota with not a lot of muscle or courage. And so there were people that broke into the lab and freed some dogs. There were people that broke some windows and painted signs on the side of banks that would do business. And they could never catch these folks, these activists. So instead of charging these unknown activists they couldn't catch, they charged the nonprofit that had a website and said, your website is a facility in interstate commerce, i.e. it's a federal issue, and you are encouraging a disruption of an animal enterprise. And lo and behold, a law was passed in 1992 called the Animal Enterprise Protection Act. Anybody who crosses state lines and causes a disruption to an animal enterprise can be guilty of a federal offense. And it had never been tried before. We were the test case. We found it constitutionally dubious. It's targeting our politics. It's targeting our cause. If I was doing the same campaign against sweatshop labor, child exploitation, environmental causes, I'd have been fine. But because my passion and yours was helping animals, I was labeled a terrorist. We took our case to trial twice. First time was a mistrial. Second time, unfortunately, a jury not of my peers, because I wouldn't call any of those people my peers, in New Jersey, where every one of them, New Jersey, by the way, is America's medicine cabinet, where everybody works in a pharmaceutical or knows somebody that does, found us guilty. And so we were all sentenced to federal prison, but I made the best of it. I had a great time. I'm never going to let the government get me down. I read books, I exercised, and had some muscle tone for a little bit. And I got lazy and I got out. I made great friends I'll talk to for life. It wasn't a bad experience. It's not something I want to do again or I recommend anybody else do, but it didn't crush my spirit. And so when I got out and Shannon called me with this concept about helping beagles out of animal testing lab as a way of connecting with the broader public, to let them know 60 million Americans share their homes with dogs and cats and have a big heart for them, and to see these animals come out of a lab, they could identify. They could empathize. And maybe this was the issue, where they finally put that the toe in the door for animal activism and take a stand. And that's what Beagle Freedom Project's been about. So for the last 5 years, I've got to work with this organization, and we have freed almost 1,000 animals from laboratories in 36 states and 8 countries. Every one of these dogs, every one of those paws that hits the pavement in any given community has more power to change a person's heart with the simple wag of their tail than I can do with my best words. These dogs are our ambassadors. They are living reminders, like I said, that animals in labs, we cannot think of them as abstract. And that goes for farms and circuses and everything. They are individuals. They're not abstract, furry little petri dishes or test tubes. They're no different than the dogs and cats and other animals we share our homes with. The problem for Beagle Freedom Project, though, was although we had a great concept and we'd gotten a few dogs out of labs, every year we would send a letter to all 383 labs in this country that use dogs and cats in research. And we focused on those two animals, not because we're specious, but because we could place them pretty easy. People adopt dogs and cats very readily. We've also rescued everything from horses to goldfish to guinea pigs, mice, rabbits, pigs. Even we just took 6 horses out of CSU, Colorado State University, 2 weeks ago. But the problem is, every year we'd send a letter to all these labs across the country. We'd tell them, this is who we are. We're not here to castigate you. We disagree with everything you do, scientifically and ethically, but we want to work with you. No matter where you stand on the animal testing debate, whether you're like me and you think it's a moral atrocity, or you're like them and you think it's a tragic necessity, there's common ground we can all meet on. And that's when the experiment is done and that little dog survived and he's healthy, you gotta let him go. You gotta let him go to a home. You can't just kill him. Especially since our taxpayer dollars pay for these dogs and cats. $600 to $1,000 each. That comes out of NIH grants. Every year we send this letter out to every lab in the country. You know how many labs have responded? 1. 1 lab. It took 10 beagles. They're great beagles. They're all traumatized. One of the worst groups I've ever seen. But they're healthy and happy. So we discussed, if the labs aren't going to voluntarily do the right thing, how do we compel them to do so? And so we came up with the Beagle Freedom Bill. And it's a simple piece of legislation. It says, if you are an animal testing lab in this state